Good morning, Anne Arundel County. Good morning, America. Welcome to Promoting Community Conversation and Discovery. I'm your host, Anthony Bynum. The name of our production company is the Glenn Burney Players. These are exciting times here in Anne Arundel County. These are exciting times. We got a break in the weather. We got some rain a couple days ago. Matter of fact, I probably have to mow the lawn a little bit today, just kind of clean it up. It's cooled things down a little bit, which is a nice thing, right? It's a nice thing. So we have an exciting show today. Let's start off with some upcoming events. We want to expand this a little bit because we have some other sources now. Patch, I'm using that as another source. And I think the Anne Arundel County Arts Council. So as we get more information, we're going to share it with the public. Okay, so Quiet Waters, this is a park over in Pasadena. They have a summer concert series to themselves. July 20th, which I think is today, the band Bravo Zulu, the group Bravo Zulu Band, which I believe is a brass band. It might be associated with, I think they're associated with military from the picture. Looks like they're associated with the military. They have a concert. I had to look at the time, I'm not quite sure. Fridays, John Wesley United Methodist Church, the Juggy food truck comes in, usually I think it's in the afternoon. But if you're interested in that, in some of their cuisine, you're welcome to go check it out. Lithicum Concerts in the Parks continues on Sundays. Now, I was there last Sunday. It was shut down. I think they might have been concerned about weather, but when I was there, it looked nice. So, yeah, right? Let's see here. The Glenn Burney concert series should be continuing. It might have, Friday might have been the last day. I missed that. I had to work late. But it wasn't there the prior week. So they might have it next Friday. They might, same thing. They were like heated out. I guess they're heated out. But they might have a makeup. Hopefully they do. So if they do, it'll probably be Friday. Also, though, the Maryland Hall, they do the plays over there. They are hosting Alice in Wonderland from the 7th, their adaptation of Alice in Wonderland from the 17th, from the 19th of July to the 28th. I might check that one out. They have some matinees like $15. That's a pretty good price, I think. All right, so we want to do a shout out for our affiliates. So Anne Arundel Cable TV, thank you for running our show. Greenbelt Cable Access out of PG County, Maryland, thank you for running our show. Amherst Media out of Amherst, Massachusetts, thank you for running our show. Manhattan Neighborhood Network, thank you for running our show. That's 5 boroughs in New York. New York, right? The place I like. Pays so nice they named it twice. We want to give, as far as giving credit where credit's due, we want to thank the people at Wikipedia. We want to thank the people from Poem Hunter. No images this week. No images this week, just one thing, but I guess it's not considered a Google image, so we didn't give a shout out to them. I want to thank our underwriter/sponsor, and that is a cleaning chef. That information will be in the end of the credits if you need services. Most admired. So, most admired started off in one direction, but it ended in another with more research. So let's just go ahead and take a look. So I want to take a look at the life of Nancy Green. Now, she was the original first living trademark in the country, as I understand it. Yes. So she was actually born either a Nancy Hayes or Nancy Hughes. She lived from 3/4/1834 to 8/30/1923. Now, she was born in a place called Mount Sterling, Montgomery County, Kentucky. At some point, she had a relationship with a George Green, thus the original surname. She had 2 to 4 children. It's not clear. The records are not clear on this. But by the end of the Civil War, they were gone. We have no understanding of what happened there. We just don't know. Now, she worked for the Walker family. They were planters and possibly part of the aristocracy in Kentucky for 2 generations. After the war, the Walker family left Kentucky and they moved to Illinois. And this is kind of interesting. Is that what folks did in those days? I don't actually know. There were a lot of people, according to this, to what I read, who left Kentucky to go to Illinois. Now, Kentucky was a border state. It was a slave state because Nancy was born into slavery, but it was a border state. So did not actually believe in the secessionist movement. They did not join the Confederacy rather. Let's continue. There were two sons who were prominent citizens. Okay. The first was a judge, the second a doctor. It was Judge Walker who recommended her to the R.T. Davis Milling Company. You see, R.T. Davis Milling, they made products from wheat turned into flour. And they had come up with a recipe for what they called ready-made pancakes. So here it is. They needed somebody. They wanted to go with a stereotype, the mammy stereotype. That's what they wanted. They knew what they wanted. They thought it would sell, and that was their plan. She was recommended. She takes the job. Okay. 1893, the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. So this is a big deal. It's like a world show, world trade show, right? World event. She is brought in there her traditional garb. I don't have a picture of it for all the obvious reasons. We all know what we're talking about, though, right? We all know what we're talking about, right? She is on display next to the world's largest flour barrel. It's 24 feet. Okay. Her job is to mix the pancake mix. Okay. Her job was to sing songs. Her job was to tell stories. And most of all, her job was to promote the product. She was fantastic. They loved her, which what led to a lot of sales for the R.T. Davis Milling Company. They offered her a lifetime contract and led to a great life for her. She was well compensated. She went to festivals. She went to carnivals. She went to circuses. She went to this show. She went to that show. She went to flea markets. She did extremely well for herself, and it offered her a life that she would not have had otherwise. But it all came to a crashing halt. You see, years later, I believe it was 1900, just 7 years later, they wanted to expand into a trade show in Paris. They wanted to sell the product in Paris. They were looking at this as a brand new, another marketplace. She wouldn't go. Not clear why she wouldn't go. Perhaps she did not feel it was right to sell the image, the stereotypical mammy image overseas. Maybe she didn't want to travel by boat. I don't know what the reasons were. It's not said, but she wouldn't do it, and she was fired. And this is where things get very interesting. This is where things get very, very interesting because there were a number of different women who were hired to be this trademark. They wanted an actual person, okay? So they could actually take a picture and at least do some show. The next person up was Agnes Moody. In fact, let me just read the names. Agnes Moody, Lillian Richard, R.T. McGinty, Ann Robinson, Rosa Washington Riles, Ann Short Harrington, Edith Wilson, Ethel Ernest Harper, Rosie Lee Moore Hall, Arlene Lewis. All of these people worked at some point in time. And the companies changed too. First, it was R.T. Davis. But R.T. Davis at some time either was acquired by or sold to Quaker Oats. Quaker Oats has their own person, okay, on the cover of their products. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment because as I understand it, that person is still there. Let's continue though. Now the picture changed from time to time as the picture changed over years too. In fact, the Aunt Jemima picture that I saw as a little kid was a very tame picture. It's a black woman. She was attractive, but they had gotten rid of all of the hair stuff and all the other parts of it that were so obviously offensive. They got rid of all that by the time I came on board. And all I knew was that that's how you could have pancakes made very quickly. But the company at that time, Quaker Oats, was obviously very concerned. They were very concerned about things heating up. Matter of fact, fast forward 60 years from that time. Matter of fact, they probably didn't get concerned until well into the 2000s. So all this time they're making money, lots and lots of money, right? But in June 2020, Quaker Oats felt both political pressure, they felt civil pressure to do away with the image completely. The whole Mammy thing, they just said, we got to wash our hands of this, fellas. This is a liability waiting to happen. It announced that the brand Aunt Jemima would be discontinued. Now, somewhere in there, though, PepsiCo took ownership of the company. I don't know if they sold it to them, they took it. I don't know what happened there. Okay, but PepsiCo knew they had a problem too. So their solution to the problem: we're going to drop the name. We're going to rename the product because the product is a good product. I've never met anyone who doesn't like uh, Aunt Jemima pancake. I don't know anyone. I've never met anyone who's complained, "Oh, that stuff is terrible." I just never had that conversation. What they did is they renamed the product. They bought the name. They renamed it. Actually, they named it the Pearl Milling Company. Yeah, so actually that was probably pretty safe. I thought they had bought the rights to the RT Davis Milling Company, but actually went with the Pearl Milling. And it's still in the marketplace. Just go to the Giant. It's still there. Now, this led to a different kind of lawsuit, though. You see, the descendants of an Anne Short Harrington, a name I mentioned earlier, they felt that she was not paid properly, and they filed a lawsuit. Now they lost the lawsuit, and it goes to show, in my analysis, I don't know this 100%, but chances are, as they became more and more established, the need for trade shows, the need to promote on the ground probably was lessened. And so it's possible, it's pretty possible that she was not needed as much. So they didn't pay her as much. But the descendants said, maybe you still didn't pay her right. In either case, the lawsuit was dismissed. Okay. That was back in about 10 years ago, it was dismissed. But it brought up another issue, and I want to kind of circle back to the beginning of this thing, right? Because there was a descendant by the name of Vera Harris. I'm assuming Vera's a woman, descendant of the of Lillian Richard, the name I mentioned. And here's a quote: "I wish we would take a breath and not get rid of everything, because good or bad, it's our history." End of quotes. And I think this is a very good place to take a look, because good, bad, history's history. And just saying it didn't happen by erasing this, getting rid of this, I've just never been a fan of that. I saw some videotape. This might have been 10, 12, 15 years ago, but there was a big push to eliminate the images of Christopher Columbus, the person who traveled with the three boats looking for, I believe it was a new trade route to China or India, and came across the North American continent through the islands. I think it was the islands off the Florida coast. And led to exploration of what became the New World, right? So this happened in Baltimore City, and there was a outpouring of individuals, and they went to a place called Little Italy, which is still there in Baltimore City, on the other side of 83, other side of President Street. And this group, I'm sure with some sort of help, industrial help, took down the statue of Christopher Columbus, put it in the water. But there was more to that story, though, because I saw where people, residents of Little Italy, went in there, water, and took it back out and put it back. I haven't heard anything else about that since. But I just think we have to be careful about these things. People live. And, you want to say, you didn't live? You weren't relevant? Were you relevant for those 60, 70 years, whether you were of fame or not? So I think it's something that you should walk um, carefully on, I guess is my point there. But we still have to go back to most admired. So Nancy Green, whether it be Nancy Green, Nancy Hayes, Nancy Hughes. You started something. You started something big. You may have been in the right place at the right time, but you started something big. So for that, you are our most admired for this week. Now, for the next segment, something of consequence regarding Anne Arundel County, I do need to go to share. So let me go ahead and pull that up right now and go here. Go to share. Perfect. Okay, I don't know what that's all about. There we go. Anne Arundel Gardens. So Anne Arundel Gardens is a small little area. It's an unincorporated community in Anne Arundel County. It's located along Maryland Route 2 near I-695. It's the southern part of Brooklyn Park. Now, it's unincorporated. So unincorporated can mean one or two different things, right? It can mean that it's a common social identity without a municipality, or it could just be right next to an outside municipality and it attaches itself to it. One thing I did find, I went over there to take a couple pictures. I'm going to try to edit those pictures in, is that it was founded in 1916. It's a nice little area. Like I said, I've driven by there. It's very nice little area. So with that, I want to do one last thing. We're going to stop the share because there's a poem. I think it's right in line with this whole issue of trademarks, living trademarks, stereotyping, right? This is called Stereotypes. It was written by, under pseudonym, Blackness Rose. We get access to it through Poem Hunter. I have to take my glasses off to read this. Please pardon that. Now, there are many different traits people share, different types of people. Traits are like styles, too many to count. The people we judge may be different on the inside. The popular one, hiding behind lies that can't be undone. The quiet girl in the background, screaming her heart out, but there's no sound. The lucky one, no one can compare, having a heart full of despair. The perfect one with the perfect life, cutting herself with a sharpened knife. The athletic one no one can beat, deriving himself of nothing but meat. The intelligent one that knows it all, hiding discomfort behind a wall. The dreamer with her head in the clouds, showing no sadness in the crowds. The normal girl with the normal life. Showing no jealousy in front of an open door. Different people, different traits, individuals, all the same, just people. And that's called Stereotypes. And again, we get the courtesy of that through Poem Hunter. So everybody, just to recap, these are exciting times here in Anne Arundel County. We should have a rough draft on Jazzing with the Ushers. Hopefully we'll have that today. And so we'll be able to get it out as soon as possible. So for everyone here at the Glen Burnie Players, again, my name is Anthony Bynum. Till next time, bye-bye.